Tyler Perry adjusted his jacket as he waited backstage at the Good Morning America studio. The morning had started like any other promotional appearance. He was there to discuss his latest project, share insights about his career, and connect with viewers across the country. The atmosphere behind the scenes was energetic and professional. Producers moved quickly between cameras. Staff members checked schedules, and the hosts prepared for another live broadcast. Tyler had done countless interviews throughout his career. As a filmmaker, writer, actor, and entrepreneur, he was accustomed to difficult questions. He understood that interviews sometimes included challenging topics. Still, he expected the conversation to remain respectful and productive. When the segment began, the audience welcomed him warmly. Michael Strahan greeted him with a smile, and the discussion started on a positive note. They talked about Tyler's latest film project, his creative process, and the lessons he had learned throughout his remarkable journey from hardship to success. The audience listened attentively as Tyler described the importance of perseverance. He spoke about the struggles he had faced early in life and how determination helped him overcome obstacles that once seemed impossible. For several minutes, everything flowed smoothly. Then the conversation shifted. Michael introduced a question about public criticism that Tyler had received over some of his creative decisions. It was a topic Tyler had addressed before, but this time the discussion quickly became more intense. Michael challenged some of Tyler's views regarding storytelling and audience expectations. The question itself was reasonable, but the exchange began to reveal strong differences in perspective. Tyler responded calmly at first. "I believe every creator has the right to tell stories that reflect their experiences," he explained. "Not every story will satisfy every critic, and that's okay." Michael nodded but continued pressing the issue. Some critics argue that successful creators have a responsibility to evolve faster and respond more directly to changing cultural expectations. What would you say to them? Tyler leaned back slightly. "I would say growth matters," he replied. "But growth should come from authenticity, not pressure." The audience could sense the tension beginning to build. Michael wasn't being hostile, but he remained persistent. He continued exploring the topic from different angles, asking whether commercial success sometimes insulated creators from important criticism. Tyler's expression became more serious. He respected difficult conversations, but he also felt that the discussion was moving away from understanding and toward assumption. There's a difference between listening to criticism and allowing others to define your voice, Tyler said. "I've spent my career creating stories that connect with millions of people." Michael responded thoughtfully. "But do you think popularity alone validates creative choices?" The room became noticeably quieter. Tyler paused before answering. "No," he said. "Popularity isn't everything. But neither is criticism. Both can teach us something if we're willing to listen." For a moment, it seemed the conversation might return to a calmer tone. Instead, another question followed. Michael referenced comments from several industry observers who believed Tyler should approach certain subjects differently. Although the question wasn't intended as a personal attack, Tyler felt that his perspective was being framed through the opinions of others rather than through his own experiences. The discussion grew more intense. Tyler remained respectful, but frustration became visible. "I've spent decades building something meaningful," he said firmly. "Sometimes people discuss my work without fully understanding why it exists." Michael listened carefully. "I understand that," he replied. "But public figures often face scrutiny. Isn't that part of success?" Tyler nodded. "Of course it is. Scrutiny comes with the territory, but meaningful dialogue requires mutual respect." The audience remained silent. Everyone could feel the weight of the moment. Tyler took a deep breath. Then he surprised everyone. Rather than raising his voice or arguing further, he calmly removed his microphone. "I think I'm going to step away for a moment," he said. The studio froze. Some viewers interpreted the action as anger. Others saw it as disappointment. The producers exchanged concerned glances as Tyler stood from his chair. Without hostility, without shouting, and without creating a scene, he quietly walked off the set. The cameras quickly shifted focus while producers moved to manage the unexpected situation. Backstage, Tyler found a quiet room and sat alone. His heart wasn't filled with anger. It was filled with reflection. For years, he had encouraged others to communicate with patience and understanding. Yet he realized that even successful people sometimes reach moments where they need space before continuing a difficult conversation. Meanwhile, in the studio, Michael reflected on the exchange as well. He hadn't intended to upset his guest. From his perspective, he had simply been doing his job as an interviewer by asking difficult questions. Yet he also recognized that intentions and impact are not always the same thing. Several minutes later, producers spoke privately with both men. The goal wasn't to assign blame. The goal was understanding. Tyler listened carefully as producers explained the audience's perspective. Michael listened carefully as producers explained Tyler's concerns. Something important happened during those conversations. Both men stopped focusing on who was right. Instead, they focused on what could be learned. After a short break, Tyler agreed to return. When he walked back onto the set, the audience applauded warmly. Michael stood and greeted him. Neither man looked angry. Both looked thoughtful. Tyler sat down and spoke first. "I think sometimes we all need a moment to process things," he said with a small smile. The audience laughed softly. Michael smiled as well. "Fair enough," he replied. "And I think sometimes interviewers need reminders that questions can land differently than intended." The tension immediately eased. What followed became the most meaningful part of the entire interview. Instead of debating, they discussed communication itself. Tyler spoke about the importance of listening before reacting. Michael spoke about the responsibility that comes with asking difficult questions. They acknowledged that misunderstandings happen, even between people acting in good faith. The audience responded positively, because the conversation had evolved into something larger than the original disagreement. By the end of the segment, both men had gained something valuable. Tyler gained the opportunity to explain his perspective more clearly. Michael gained insight into how certain questions can affect guests emotionally. As the interview concluded, they shook hands. The applause was louder than it had been at the beginning, not because there had been conflict, but because there had been growth. Later, many people discussed the moment online. Some focused on the brief walk-off. Others focused on the disagreement. But those who watched the entire exchange understood the deeper lesson. Conflict does not have to end relationships. Disagreement does not have to create enemies. Sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is pause, reflect, and return with a willingness to listen. And sometimes the most important victory is not winning an argument. It is building understanding. That morning, what began as a tense conversation became a reminder that respect, patience, and honest dialogue can turn even difficult moments into opportunities for growth. That was the lesson both men carried with them long after the cameras stopped rolling.